Yeah.
Peptides are powerful and often misunderstood.
And we are here to change that.
I'm Dr. Kylie Burton.
And I'm Jessica Bricky.
This is Pep Talk. Peptides Unpacked. Science made simple, results made real. Before we go any further, I want to start with an important fact because this sets the stage for everything we're about to talk about. Traditional lab ranges were never designed to help you feel your best. They were created decades ago by looking at large populations and asked one primary question. At what point does disease become obvious? So when you're told your labs are normal, what that really means is you don't fit criteria for a diagnosis. Not that your body is functioning well, you just don't fit the diagnosis yet. The gap between not sick and actually feeling good is where so many people live, and that's exactly why functional lab interpretation exists.
And that right there explains why so many people just feel awful, all while being told that everything looks fine. So, this episode is honestly a full circle moment for me. I'm so excited about what we're about to do. I have used functional labs myself for years, personally and professionally. And it wasn't always the case. Like a lot of practitioners, I started off working from a symptom experience, long supplement list kind of a base. And then years ago, I met Kylie through a supplement company that we were both using in their Facebook support group. And at the time, I didn't really understand a thing about using labs because with the training that I had, that wasn't something that we were talking about at the time. Now it's definitely part of that curriculum that I was in, and everybody's doing it. So I didn't really understand it at the time, but I met Kylie, who was teaching all of us practitioners in the group how to use functional labs to interpret them and build a protocol with supplements around that space. And then Kylie went on to write her book, Why Are My Labs Normal? Your Guide to Reading Your Own Blood Work. And you
The
don't have
book
to have
is
a medical
now
background.
it's now Unshakable Brain.
That is it the same book and you've put all
It's
that into
similar.
that?
So like if
Okay.
you want to get into the nitty-gritty about the labs, I just don't go into the peptides here in the side of the book. So the book will teach you how to read your labs. Come here for how to deal with it regarding peptides. So
Gotcha.
we'll get into this, but the treatment plan that I used to use was like 6 months, maybe even 9 months or 12 months, depending on the scenario. And now it's like, you might need this one peptide stacked with this second peptide, maybe a third peptide. And it's all dependent upon labs. But my whole philosophy has always been how do we figure out what is the best case to get you from point A to point B? Because so many times we get told, my labs are normal. Then you're like, well, why do I feel like this?
Hmm.
And then we trust a functional medicine doctor or practitioner or health professional. And then they put us on this $10,000 functional medicine plan. And they put 20 capsules in front of us every single day of supplements that are supposed to be helping. And then
And
we go
some of them
back to them
do.
they go back to them the next visit and they change them. Oh, now we need supplements to fix the side effects of the supplements. I had to figure out a method so that someone walked in or they saw me over Zoom and they're like, okay, I'm feeling like this. I want to feel like this. I've tried this. I might have felt better a little bit somewhere in between, but it really didn't get me to my end result that I wanted. I might have had a little bit of a health upgrade, but I want a big health upgrade because I'm down here at the bottom of the totem pole. So I had to figure out if
I think I'm a perfect example of what you're explaining, Kylie, because I, doing what I do, try to self-treat. I've worked with a lot of really incredible practitioners over the years, but having had multiple autoimmune conditions myself and Lyme and mold and stress, like all of us do, like I have constantly been the person who is doing this protocol and this protocol and this protocol. And I don't know that I have ever gotten myself back to this place of feeling 100% like me, like my body was cooperating, like it was doing all of the things that it should be doing. And there really wasn't any room for me to fix. Diet was good, lifestyle was good, stress management's good, sleep's good. All the foundational pieces that a lot of people are missing, they were all there. Looking at my labs on paper, for me, there was nowhere else to go. So when you needed to come up with a new plan for people that maybe weren't progressing with their supplement plan, I'm a perfect example of the success of peptides. And now you've come up with this way to simplify for people to look at their labs now and say, oh, this
Yeah,
peptide
so
might help
now
here.
it's blood work and peptides.
Ah, it's amazing. It's
Because
brilliant.
let me just give you a little tidbit of what we're about to discuss, okay? So inside the CBC with differential, we have a marker, two of them actually, called the neutrophils and the lymphocytes. In previous conversations, the treatment plan for this would be like, okay, if it's the 1-to-1 ratio, and that means we're dealing with some type of autoimmune, then we're going to look at, we've got to destroy the infections and we've got to rebuild it all, rebuild the gut and the lining and the microbiome. And it would take a good, 6 months for this with the supplement regimen.
At least.
And at least, yes. And that's to just based upon what I was seeing in the labs. That doesn't mean that they're going to feel XYZ better in the 6 months. It's going to be a work in progress. But now I'm looking at it and I think 1-to-1 ratio, thymosin alpha 1, BPC 157. That's it.
Hmm. And they're going to come back from whatever their symptoms are so much faster than all these stages of protocols that we would bring people through. That doesn't mean that there aren't still some things that need to be addressed outside of the peptides because that still probably exists for some people, but largely we just need to knock down inflammation. We need to heal soft tissue. We need to get the immune cells doing what they're supposed
Communicating
to.
correctly
Yeah,
and
right,
rebuilding the gut lining.
right,
Because leaky gut, hello, BPC 157.
right.
So the way I've traditionally taught labs remains very similar as far as like, okay, if you're outside of this range, you're going, that means this. The treatment plan is now upgraded
Hmm.
immensely. So say you're taking $400 a month in supplements. Pretty standard, I think. And you're dealing with $350 to $400 a month in cost. And you can now switch over to BPC 157, which are capsules or injections if you'd so choose.
Although I'm a much bigger fan of any sub-Q, largely because they work much better. So if you have to do capsules, it's better than not doing anything, but the capsule response is going to be much less than a sub-Q response.
Well, I'm taking capsules, so
We'll see how
I
you
can't bring
do.
myself to doing the injections yet. Um, but if you're a health professional listening to this and you are like, I need to enter this new period of time, this new way we do functional medicine, though this new way we do peptide therapy, it's no different than hormone therapy. It's just now we can replace these extensive plans with simplicity and get so much better results in a faster manner. So when we're talking about these labs today in this particular episode, and you're thinking, Kylie, I've
But
been
in the
taking
in
these.
the in the top of the show, but I think it's important for us to just mention to people what is a functional lab versus a
Oh, yes.
traditional lab, because maybe people don't understand what we're talking about there.
Yep. Okay, so let's just use the thyroid marker for example, because everybody knows TSH, mostly everybody. TSH is the one marker that doctors take for thyroid. Now, mind you, on any given lab panel, your TSH is going to be anywhere between 0.5 and 5.5. That's the optimal range. Now, if you think about it, like, all right, I want to find my favorite restaurant somewhere between California and New York. Good luck. That's what that range means. Now, a functional range says, okay, we might not have a diagnosis yet, but we're still feeling like we got all the thyroid symptoms. That's going to be outside of the range 1.8 and 3. Some people will say they want less than 2. Just depends on where you're at in this spectrum. But it's a much narrower range than the optimal ranges are, which we see regularly in labs. So that's the difference between the functional range and the optimal range. We're going to be using functional ranges in this discussion, which are going to look different than your optimal ranges that you see on the labs your doctor ordered.
Right, when everything comes back in the green and they say there's nothing wrong with your labs, we're saying when they come back, we're not looking for you to be so sick that you're in the red range on those traditional labs. We're looking for you to be in the green range where your body's working and feeling at its best, that tight range in the middle. Once you get outside of that range, those are your warning signs. That's that time when, hey, pay attention. We need a little support here before you get outside of that traditional value, which is a much higher, wider, broader range, which is what you're saying. And we're sick. We're really sick at that point. So let's keep it optimal where the body's functioning, doing its absolute best. That's what we're looking for. That
Right.
tighter inside the traditional lab range.
Yeah, and the little phrase we've used in the past on this episode is live better longer. So if we want to
Yep.
continue with that live better longer concept, we're going to use these ranges, not the optimal ranges as you'll find in your labs. Ready to dive in?
What do you think, Pilot? We should have people at this point get out a pen and paper and write down a couple of notes for themselves, and we'll just take a few hot markers that they might be familiar with and say, this is what could potentially help you or benefit you.
Yes.
Not diagnosing you and not giving you a protocol that's going to fix your problem. I want to be careful how we word it.
For
This is something that is
educational
going to support your
purposes
healing.
only.
Really going to take you a long way. There we go.
Yeah. Summarize it pretty simply. Now I do have a guide that you can grab if you're looking for like, okay, based upon how I feel, based upon my blood work, what are the best peptides for me? If you're a health practitioner and you want to incorporate these peptides into your space, and you're wondering what's the fast track on helping people understand these peptides and use the one that's correct for them. And I'm going to just caveat by saying times have changed. Methods that previously were used need to be upgraded. So if you've heard me before, you need to upgrade the treatment methods and the treatment plans, and we can all thank each other because we're going to get better faster, and we're going to get our patients better faster. So, okay, the first one, blood sugar. Sound good?
Yeah, let's talk about that one. I think that's an easy one to go over.
Okay, so we're talking about blood sugar and glucose. Now, I'm going to say the reference range that I would use, people who are in the keto space or the carnivore space, they might use a different range. But for functional range method for me, it's going to be between 85 and 99. And we're talking about your blood glucose. So when you go get your blood drawn, it is the blood sugar inside your blood at that moment. Okay. If your hemoglobin A1C, that is your blood sugar over time. And at 5.6% right now, you're going to get diagnosed with pre-diabetes. Is it 6.0 or 6.5 now? They keep changing it because they want to make it so seem like we're healthier than we
It's
are.
5.6 and then 6.5. They keep changing that a little bit, but 6.5 is kind of that like, okay, we're out of the pre-diabetic stage.
And the
We've gone
diabetic.
into this stage now.
Yeah.
Also, I think it's worth mentioning that when these labs are pulled, make sure that you're doing them fasting. That matters. That's going to
Yeah.
influence what at least the glucose number is going to look like. It may not influence the A1C that much, but it'll influence that glucose number.
Okay. So your now treatment option one of the best treatment options, I might say, are your GLP-1 and your GIPs. So when you think about blood
Yeah,
sugar, blood glucose, and you're seeing your numbers elevated on the labs, you want to think blood sugar and metabolism. Support for that is GLP-1 and GIP. Okay, that's pretty
right.
standard. Let's,
Pretty standard. I think people understand that. I also want to say long-term use versus how long, people ask all the time, how long do I have to be on this? Well, everybody's a little bit different. It depends on how metabolically busted you are. If you've listened to our other episodes, you understand that. So some people might just need to kind of get this back in order, clean up the house, and everything will be good. Give your body the spark. It'll be short-term use. Some people might need a little bit for the rest of their life. Some people might need to cycle it. So everybody's going to be a little bit different when it comes to GLP-1 use, depending on your metabolic state. But those markers Kylie was just talking about, the A1C and the fasting, again, fasting glucose, those are the numbers you're going to look at to determine if this GLP, although it does many things, will help you if those numbers are out of range.
next one we're going to talk about are leaky gut markers. These are total protein and globulin markers, and these are found inside a metabolic panel. So if you're like grabbing your pencil and your paper or even pulling out your phone and putting in your phone notes, whatever, however you want to do it, you're looking at total protein. The number is 6.9 to 7.4. Let me say that one more time. Total protein is found inside your metabolic panel. The functional range is 6.9 to 7.4. If you are outside of that range, think leaky gut. Globulin is also associated with leaky gut. The number for globulin is 2.4 to 2.8. So if you fall outside of that range, 2.4 to 2.8 for globulin, think leaky gut. These are correlated to leaky gut. They're not diagnosing, they're correlated to. Okay. Now, your treatment for this is going to be the BPC 157/TB 500.
Mm-hmm.
It is going to zip up that gut lining better than anything else on the market.
And fast. So this combination is nicknamed the Wolverine. So anybody that's a Marvel fan knows that the Wolverine could, heal in the blink of an eye. They have nicknamed this combination the Wolverine because it is that fast. I've personally experienced it. I can say that is absolutely true. It is mind-blowing how quick it can be. We're talking sub-Q, that speed when you're taking it sublingually and it has to go through the digestive tract, that response is going to be a little bit different. Um,
But there is the
but it's
option.
quick. There is the option, but it is quick. It is powerful. So when Kylie says it'll zip up your gut lining, man, this is where it's at. So those are great markers to consider when you're looking at your labs. Hey, this is going to help me. I've got this here. It's not the end all, though, is what you're saying, right?
I mean, when you look at labs, you're going to find multiple different markers, and it's just like a peptide stack almost.
Yeah,
But if you're to start off with one thing, like we've mentioned before in previous episodes, it's this.
yeah,
This is the one thing that you want to start off with. It's associated with the leaky gut. Food sensitivities,
yeah.
great for this
Agreed.
stuff. Um,
I just had a somebody actually just reach out to me over the weekend, and she is still struggling. She has done so many amazing things to heal her body, and yet she still struggles with gluten. And she is not a celiac, right? So she does not have that actual autoimmune marker for gluten, but she just can't digest it. So we talked at great lengths about this. She's still experiencing some bloating and all that. I said, this is the one. This is the peptide that you need to do probably for a month or two and see what happens and probably zip up that gut. And guess what? You can probably enjoy your sourdough without without having a problem like you were, which is exciting.
yeah. So those are great markers found inside your metabolic panel. Let's just go through, two more markers in your metabolic panel because they're associated with your detox system, specifically your liver.
Mm-hmm.
And, back in the day, I remember when I first got introduced to enemas, coffee enemas.
Mm-hmm. My
And
favorite.
I'm like, what?
I love
People
them.
do that? And it's to stimulate the liver's glutathione
Hmm.
production.
Yep.
Okay. We're talking AST and ALT here. The functional range that I would like to see people in within is 10 to 18 for both of them. So if you fall outside of 10 to 18, which I've never seen anybody less than 10, I've seen people in the hundreds and the 200s and the 300s, and you're like, dang, that liver is overburdened. The detox system is really struggling. What's the peptide? Can you take a guess?
Well, I'm
Glutathione.
going to say glutathione. We're going to stimulate what we're doing with that coffee enema. So those that are afraid of coffee enemas, there's another way.
Me, I have not done coffee enema. I never want to, but I will take some glutathione peptide for sure. You can always combine that one with the NAD plus too for the cellular impact, the energy support. But if you're like, my liver is really struggling, my kidneys are struggling, we've got multiple kidney markers within the metabolic panel as well. If you're looking at being the best version of you, glutathione. And we're talking like the real stuff here.
Mhm.
So
I
super
want
cool.
to pause for 1 second and just tell people why this is so freaking important, right? So the liver has over 500 jobs that it has to do in the body. Most people just think, oh, it's detox. It's I drank too much alcohol and now I've got, or I took too much Tylenol. I have to, put it through my liver. Yes, that's true. But the hormones, oh my gosh, there's so many hormone jobs that are related to this. Also, people that have a history of gallbladder issues, gallstones, you've had your gallbladder removed. I'm one of those. 27 years ago, I had my gallbladder removed because I didn't know then what I know now. If I had that situation now, I'd know how to heal that. But if you are somebody that has struggled with stones or you've had your gallbladder removed, guess what? You just removed the symptom. You didn't fix the problem. The problem goes back to your liver. So the liver is struggling. One of the ways that we can support that is exactly what Kylie is saying right here. Support it by increasing our glutathione. It's one of many ways that we can support that liver function. So freaking important. So, on top of your liver markers, there are things that have happened to many, many people that we need to be considering this peptide.
Correct. I think about skin issues,
Mm,
acne. Yeah, teenage acne, adult acne, that's be a great thing to add in. But if you're looking at labs specifically, you're like, based upon my labs, what do I need? Well, if your ALT and AST is above 18, especially if it's getting above 25, let's definitely help out that liver and the detox system.
hmm.
Okay, now, here's something that I love. I'm not going to get in the details, but when you think about the iron panel, you're looking at serum iron, you're looking at ferritin, you're thinking TIBC. Now, serum iron is the amount of iron you have in your blood at the time the blood was drawn. Ferritin is your levels, like your long-term reserves. So if you're not like a red meat eater, we don't have a problem with that at my house. But if you're struggling to get iron, your body will pull from the reserves, and every single cell in your body needs iron. Okay. Now, be outside of the iron panel specifically telling us about our iron status, it gives us a lot of information about our cells and how healthy our cells are. And cells are the very basic structure of our bodies. Everything we have is made up of cells. So if we heal our cells, what can come from it? When it comes to peptide recommendations for healing your cells, let's think methylene blue, NAD plus, and our favorite BPC 157, TB 500 combo.
Good one.
That's the iron panel. Scrolling down my PDF here, we're looking at vitamin D. Now, I'm going to talk about this for a few more minutes in the lipid panel, which I just wanted to brush by to show you how cool these can be and how tremendously impactful to our health based upon our labs these peptides have, the power of peptides. On a given lab, Jess, we both know that the vitamin D level for normal is anywhere between 32 and 100.
Crazy. What a range.
Ridiculous. Pathetic. If somebody has a vitamin D level of 38, they absolutely feel like crap. If it's in the 40s, they feel like crap. If it's in the 50s, they feel like crap. Maybe if we're getting, above 75, now we're like, okay, my vitamin D is pretty good. But then the worst part, in my opinion, is people freak out if it gets over 100. Physicians immediately stop someone from taking vitamin D. And I'm like, I had a patient one time, major, major, long chronic health problems. Her vitamin D level was at 186, and her doctor like panicked. She stopped taking her vitamin D based upon the recommendations, and all of her autoimmune symptoms came back. So I don't worry about a high level. In my opinion, I want vitamin D to be over 80. No cap. Vitamin D over 80. Now you can go take vitamin D. There's a lot of people who say, well, I took vitamin D, even my stellar 3-month protocol that I used to always talk about. But now I'm going to be like, all right, vitamin D is great. Do you know what's even better? Thymosin alpha 1.
I love that peptide. I love that we can talk about that peptide. I love that we have a
I love
source
that
for
it's
that
available
peptide.
now. We're like, yes, it's available. Okay.
Oh, thank goodness.
Speaking of thymosin alpha 1, what if you've been diagnosed with Hashimoto's or you
Hmm.
have antibodies?
How many people
Okay.
have? I mean, you can't cast a net and catch, you know, a dozen people that are right in your surrounding area
Yep.
that have a thyroid issue.
Antibodies, period, across the board.
Yeah,
ANA, whatever it is, if it says has letters and it says antibodies, you have a red flag. Now, there's kind of a twofold aspect with antibodies. If you're above 0, you have antibodies and your immune system is starting to fight.
it's responded. Right.
So you can wait for it to hit the threshold in which you can then receive the diagnosis, or you can just be proactive about it and not even wait until it hits some threshold. But if you want to hit the threshold, the TPO antibodies for thyroid are above 34. If you want the diagnosis or look that way, the TG antibodies are above 1. Okay. Autoimmune, what do we think? Thymosin alpha 1. Now, here's something even cooler. We love to mention on this podcast. I talked to some practitioners when I created this PDF, this guide, this Bloodwork and Peptides guide. I sent it out to them to get their opinions, what they thought, especially ones who have been using peptides in their clinic. And the one said, you need to add GLP-1 to your thyroid antibodies. Anything I've used, anytime someone gets on a GLP-1, it's like a bonus side effect. Their antibodies drop. Proven right
We're
there in all
just
their labs.
we're just scratching the surface of what we know to be true about these peptides as far as like what we can say they are doing. Like we can see these results in the people that we're working with. We know that. We're not allowed to say a lot of those things of what they're
Uh-huh.
doing,
Yeah.
but we know that it's happening. So I think as time goes on, we are going to be able to say this definitely does X, Y, Z, whereas right now we can say it does X and Y.
Yep.
We're going to be able to say the whole alphabet, in my opinion, when it comes to these
Yes.
peptides. They are it.
Okay. So let's just drop with one little piece left. I
Okay.
could go into a whole nother episode on the CBC with differential, but let's talk about the pieces that I don't really talk about. And that's the red blood cell,
Yeah.
the hemoglobin and the hematocrit and the MCV and the MCHC. I'm not going to get into the ranges for these because you need to have the guide for it. They're different for female and males. But when people say, I've had, oh, just left my mind, the gene for MTHFR. I've been tested for MTHFR. I'm positive. Or, I don't methylate my B vitamins. All
Mhm.
that means is that your body consumes, when you consume a B vitamin, your body has to go through this process to convert it into a usable B vitamin. We want that to convert because it's required to take your food and convert it into energy.
Right.
So if you're thinking, I want more energy, well, B12 methylcobalamin is available as a peptide. NAD plus. Those will be my two recommendations. If you're looking at your red blood cells and you're thinking, especially if they're on the elevated of the part of the range, which is an indicator of your B12 or your vitamin B status, get yourself some B12 methylcobalamin, which is already methylated, hence why it's called methylcobalamin, and
Meaning
some
we can
NAD
use it
plus.
immediately. The body's able to use it
Mhm.
immediately, right? Without going through
Yeah.
that whole complicated Krebs cycle,
Yes.
which is a nightmare I
And
can't
so
even
many
explain
people
it.
are taking, methylated B vitamins
Yeah,
because they've noticed it makes a big difference. So let's
huge
switch over to
difference.
something even more powerful,
Yep.
get it straight to our cells and let them do their jobs.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to drop those few pieces about labs and blood work and peptides because what we've known is one thing. What we know moving forward in this new world of medicine with peptide therapy is a whole nother. And it's such a crazy, amazing experience to be part of the journey. So, welcome aboard. You're part of the journey, whether you're looking at taking peptides or whether you're looking for incorporating peptides. We're glad you've been on this journey with us and continue to be on the journey with us.
hmm Listen, in my 3+ decades in wellness, I don't think I've ever been more excited than I am working with peptides now. Just
I don't think
adding this
I've been
layer.
this excited either.
I mean, truly, when you first taught me labs, I was super excited, right? Because I thought, oh my gosh, there's another way. Like I can really get detailed on what people's body, what they're saying specifically, instead of throwing spaghetti at the wall and trying to guess what, spending a lot of money to, this symptom could be for a ton of different reasons. Let's keep trying, right? So now you bring labs into the picture and the guesswork is gone, and that was so helpful. However, peptides and seeing real results and how easy we can help people get well. I have never been more excited. I've experienced it myself in my own body. And now to be able to share it with people, how they can do it safely, how they can do it with their blood work. Uh, this is really good stuff. And what Kylie has done with this program that she's got for using your labs, whether you are an individual, I'm assuming, and I don't want to speak for you, but I'm assuming whether you're an individual and you're looking for help or you're a practitioner that's looking for help, Kylie's going to be able to help you use
You
these
know, I,
tools.
I sent this guide over to you when I first created it, and your reply was capital OMG. That guide is brilliant. And I'm just like, I'm over here thinking, what like I've mentioned before, like what we've been doing is so cool, but yet we can do now is just, it's raised the bar.
Really has.
And it's not just for us health practitioners, but to raise the bar for people to feel better. And that's ultimately what we're all in the game for. We're
Yeah.
all wanting to help people feel better, which is why we even hit record on this podcast to begin with. So it's to help more people feel better with this knowledge. And now we can take blood work as we've previously known it and used it and correlate it to peptide therapy and get so much better results faster. I dare say cheaper too.
Well, yeah. And also not $3,600 cheaper like your friend with the peptides, but
Yes.
but when you think about people that have done supplemental protocols, and again, I do want to say they have their space. Like there are things that are very supportive in supplements. So this is not about bashing supplements in any way, shape, or form. It's just that there are other things that we know we can do to support you for quicker results and more. I don't, I think permanent might be a way, but I don't know if that's appropriate. But definitely a stronger response to healing with these peptides quicker. So when you spend years, which people do, protocol after protocol, hundreds of dollars every month doing this, that, and the other thing, and I have been that person. Um, the investment here is so much less, so
Mhm.
much less.
Yeah.
And once you start using peptides, you'll think, where has this been my whole life? Tell you where it's
Yes.
been. The medical community doesn't want us healthy because they don't make money.
Well,
That's where it's
pharmaceuticals are
been.
trying to claim their stamp on this as well.
Yeah.
So as we've mentioned previously, like don't just go out and grab any supplement that Facebook ads send you or whatever you search for. Like you need the legit stuff if you want the legit results.
Yeah.
And that's the bottom line. So, okay, finishing up here. If you just learned something that you didn't know before, please share this podcast. There's somebody in your space that you could influence because you found us. So help them find it too. And we would be grateful for it. We would also be grateful if you would leave a review on whatever podcast platform you're using. Those reviews not only help people learn about the podcast and the results of listening, but it helps spread this podcast to more individuals organically. And if you want to learn more about me, you can find me at drkylieburton.com/peptides and my other podcast called Unshakable Brain. If you want this blood work guide, just go to drkylieburton.com/peptides and it will map you through how to get there. I haven't figured that out at the time of this recording yet, so just start there.
Start
And then
there.
we'll
It'll be
figure out
there.
how to get this guide to you. It may be free, it might not be. So we'll see what I've decided. Moving on in the future, it is definitely worth paying for, no matter who you are, what your goal is to use with it, because this is something that's going to change the future of how we read blood work and how we provide these peptide
Oh,
therapies
it's
as
worth
well.
it.
So
It's worth it. I've seen the guide, you guys. It's good. It's good. It's brilliant. And you'll learn an awful lot about your body
yeah. And that
in
just
this little
comes from
guide.
regular blood work. Whatever blood work
Yep.
your doctor's already ordered, that's what you use.
Yep.
So that's a
Yep.
cool part. All right, Jess, where can they find you?
Yeah, they can find me on Instagram. That is Jess B underscore LMT underscore NC. And you can find me in my website, b2b with jess.com/peptides. You can find me on either of those places.
We'll see you in the next episode of Pep Talk, Peptides Unpacked.
See ya.